Hello, my name is Beck and welcome to a spoiler-free review for The Great Hunt by Robert Jordan. This is the second Wheel of Time book and I've done an entire spoiler vlog for this. I will link it down below as well as my Wheel of Time playlist. This is essentially a book that follows Rand, and we have a multitude of other characters in here as well, but he is essentially the chosen one who has an innate magical ability that he does not want, and I tend to like that trope, but the way that this went I found certain things quite frustrating, which I'll get into shortly. This is a book that has the Horn of Valere in it, so it is a mythical magical object and the good guys don't want it to fall into the Dark Friends' hands basically, and so that's what this quest really covers. They're transporting the horn and they also have possession of the dagger from the first book and they're trying to get that destroyed so they can essentially save Mat's life. This had technically one kind of driving force in it, which are the things I just described, but because there are so many different characters in here they tend to split off from each other, and so they all have their own individual story arc, which I quite liked the variety of, but unfortunately I only gave this a 2 stars when it could have been a 3 or 4, and I gave the first book a 4 stars, so I'm quite disappointed that I didn't love this. This had really big problems with miscommunication and pace for me, and so while I wanted to enjoy it, I felt like the first third or even a huge chunk of the middle could just be taken right out of the book and it would have functioned quite well. Obviously I get into more detail in my spoiler talk, so if you want to see reasoning around why I didn't like it, you can watch that video, but mostly it just boils down to miscommunication and Rand as a character being quite frustrating. I did like moments where other characters viewed Rand and made comments about his development and comparisons to how he used to be compared to how he is now. I appreciated that kind of character development because we got to see outside of his head, and I found Rand very frustrating in this book. So there were things I did appreciate, don't get me wrong, and I quite liked the world building and the magic, but that seems to be quite tangential. Instead, what is focused on is this massive quest, and I didn't love the quest because it felt like it kept going back to square one when it should have progressed more. And so it felt like we kept getting roped back to the start again based on what Robert Jordan did in here. And I want to tell you why, but it will give away spoilers and I'm not going to do that because that is what my spoiler vlog is dedicated to. So unfortunately, there were just things that I didn't love in here. What I did like were the women in here. So I expected them to be saved at a particular point by somebody, and they actually saved themselves, which I really enjoyed because I guess Robert Jordan set up a lot of foundations for fantasy now. So when I'm reading this, I'm extra critical, but at the same time, I need to recognize that these are all tropes that he really helped support and drive the birth of. So I can't criticize him too much, but at the same time, I shouldn't be bored reading a book, and this took me 6 months to read, so it shouldn't take me that long. I think there were problems with it, and I've heard people say that this is the book that is the best book at the beginning of the Wheel of Time series, and I strongly disagree. So if there is a book in the Wheel of Time series without spoilers that is your favorite, let me know in the comments because I'm in 2 minds. Sometimes I really want to pick up the 3rd book and see what I would rate it, but then I look at this book and I go, I was reading this for 6 months and it's put me in a year-long almost reading slump, so is it really worth trying another one? But at the same time, I gave the first book a 4 stars and I really liked it, and it took me less than a month to read that. This one I gave a 2 stars and it took me ages. Is the next book going to fall into either party, or is it just going to be middle of the road at a 3 stars? I honestly don't know. My favourite characters in here are Perrin, and actually I was going to say more than one, but mostly just Perrin is my favourite character because I like the development that he's gone through so far, and I think uniquely he's the most interesting. A lot of the other characters have chips on their shoulder, or they're refusing to believe things in Rand's case, or they're just quite stubborn for the sake of it, like Nynaeve. And I know that characters have particular setup points, and this is a very long burning series, so naturally all of them are going to grow and change, probably into characters that I really love. But at the moment it's just a bit of a struggle for me. So I did give this 2, I wanted to give it 3 or 4, but it just kept declining with my rating, unfortunately. So essentially that is my spoiler-free review. It's mostly just me saying I didn't love this, I wish I did, and I don't know if I'm going to continue. Ultimately, I just don't want to get into a massive reading slump again, and that is what my fear is with thinking about the 3rd book. I need to just back away and leave it alone for a little bit, I think. I would like to have spoiler vlogs for every book in the series, but is that going to be a detriment to my reading? I'm not sure. In terms of this book, I think the characters were interesting and unique. The pace definitely fell flat for me. the characterization of Rand particularly just got very repetitive, and I wish that things were more varied. Robert Jordan tends to drop things into his plot as well that they don't necessarily serve an immediate purpose. I guess they're kind of like foreshadowing, but they're just very clunky in my personal experience. So I don't know. It's a massive series with a lot of fans, and I really want to like it because I love fantasy so much, but unfortunately this just didn't hit the right notes for me at all, and so I'm gonna DNF the series for a bit and maybe come back to it later. But that is essentially my review for The Great Hunt, the second book in the Wheel of Time. Let me know if you liked the book or not. I would really like to know because I seem to get a lot of varying opinions, so if you can put your opinions below, I would really appreciate them. I will link my spoiler vlog for you as well. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll come chat to you down below in the comments, and I'll see you at my next one. Bye.